Hello there, my friends, and welcome to the Saturday special. Just a little extra episode I wanted to bring to you because I always love talking with Christian Finnegan and or Ophira Eisenberg at the end of the week. When I can get them together, the three of us, it's that much more fun. Always great, always thoughtful, and that is exactly what happened today. We had a really serious conversation about what happened in New York City on the subway, and a lot of giggles and goofiness about other things, like right here at the top. Christian Finnegan writes New Music for Olds, an amazing newsletter that you should go subscribe to and pay for because Christian's awesome. And if you like music a lot, you'll love it. And if you're like me and you like music a lot, but you don't know anything much about music, you're not really savvy, you'll love it too. So do yourselves a favor and go subscribe. newmusicforolds.substack.com. It's free, and you can pay if you want and get some more. And, of course, Ophira Eisenberg is the host of an amazing podcast, Parenting is a Joke. You should subscribe to that if you're a parent and if you're not, because you'll love it either way, because both of these comedians are absolutely hilarious. They have done so much in their careers. This is where they're at right now with me on Stand Up on a Saturday special. Thanks for listening. I hope you're doing good. Here we go. And we are off, and it's been so long since we had a threesome. Christian Finnegan, Ophira Eisenberg, back. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Great to be here.
That's how I arrive at every threesome. Hi.
Hi. I will say that I was just in Canada, and I was reminded that my problem with threesomes is that I would feel really weird about making sure everyone has equal time.
I could see that being an issue.
Oh, it's funny that both of you just weighed in very briefly, clearly admitting you hadn't had one because you gestured it was hypothetical.
Oh yeah, I got close once, but I never had one.
I didn't either. I just to be clear. So I'm glad we got that out of the way, and I hope that listeners will respond with the correct offers
and or what the proper protocol is.
Yeah, exactly. Do you set a timer, like one of those high intensity interval?
Well, I feel like there's a
timers?
lot. And again, are you talking 2 males, 1 female, 2 females, 1 male? I didn't want this to go this direction so early, but I feel like if I was
so
in a
binary too of you, Christian. Binary.
That is true. Yeah, 1 female, 1 male, 1 other. I don't mean to. Anyway,
no, you're othering. Great.
I'd be so worried about engaging too quickly in the threesome because
the enthusiastic one
immediately. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, because it's like, oh, I'm out first. I'm done, and you guys are just getting started.
It's like dodgeball.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I think every threesome should have 2 people on the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Tap
a
in.
Good idea.
Like a soccer game. You hold up a little card and then you run in.
Who's your understudy?
Mine would clearly be someone with, a similar physique, like a dad body.
Gollum.
Did you say Gollum?
No, I did not say that. Definitely not.
Because I that's what I thought. I heard you say it's me. So my I tap out and a gargoyle apparently shows up. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, that was a real easy, fun thing to do. Let's just quickly, or for the rest of the time, talk about this horrible nightmare that happened in the city that you both live in.
Great transition.
Yeah, thank you. And the city that I lived in and worked in forever. And we all ride the subway a lot for years and years and years. We all see people that do everything, you name it. We have seen it pretty much all. And sometimes the things that people do, especially if they're having some kind of mental illness or crisis or episode, make us uncomfortable. They make us uncomfortable. Sometimes people even get violent. What happened the other day, by all accounts, in New York City on the subway, was that a man was shouting and screaming and gesticulating, but he hadn't attacked any person, and he was restrained and then murdered, are the words I'm using, by another passenger. How do you guys see that? What are as New Yorkers, as subway riders, as people who are paying attention to that story, Christian?
I feel like it is scary because I feel like it is a sort of temperature check on where people are at right now. And there is, not just because of sort of viral culture, but also just because of all of the sort of shootings and incidents and I hate the word polarization, but the fact that everybody is constantly at battle stations all the time. There's sort of a hero complex that I worry is taking place in people's minds of like, when the shit goes down, I'm going to be prepared. And when I say prepared, I mean like kind of jonesing for it in a way. I think there's a lot of people out there who kind of want to be the hero, or they want to be, you know, like they're just itching. They're got their finger on the trigger, so to speak, and they're ready to kick ass. And I think that it is not, you know, it's not a coincidence that this is a 30-year-old homeless guy who's clearly whacked out on drugs, probably 160, 170 pounds, if that. I mean, he looked like a beanpole. And it's like, oh, if you're a sort of an MMA dude who's just looking to sort of make a dent, then it's like, oh, what a perfect target that is, you know. And I've been in New York since I was 18 years old. There's always been homeless people. There's always been frightening homeless people. But it's like people have this idea now that it's like, I shouldn't ever be made to feel uncomfortable at any time. And if you do make me feel uncomfortable, whether you're a teenage girl accidentally parking in my driveway or, you know, a homeless guy in the subway, then all bets are off and I'm allowed to do anything. And it concerns me just in terms of where this is going to go, where this attitude will go, and see people defending it is not surprising, but depressing.
Yeah. People defending
and
it.
Seen.
Ophira, what are your thoughts?
I mean, by no means in any stretch of the imagination do I support the actions of the person that, you know, basically fatally attacked someone who is borderline struggling, drugs, who knows, you know, whatever, on the subway. I think the part of this vigilante feel is that the structures around us are completely gone. And I am the first person to say that I don't love riding. I used to ride the subway without even thinking about it. I ride the subway now and I'm always looking around. It always feels tense. It's totally different. And you also feel like nobody, and by that I mean the citizens riding the subway, should not be in charge, but nobody's doing anything about it. Like there's nothing happening to ease this. There's nothing, there's no place for people who are struggling to get help because all these services have fallen apart. There's nobody, they say that now there's these great announcements on the subway being like, hey, you're at 23rd Street. By the way, there's, police officers on the platform if you have any questions or whatever. And you look and you go, no, they're not. I mean, I don't know, unless they are like really undercover, but it just seems like there's nobody doing anything all the time. I have been on a car with two cops and there are, a couple people just smoking on the car. I don't think smoking is a big deal. I don't really want it on the subway car, honestly. I think that just like sets up like, what are we doing here situation, but they're just standing there watching it. And I'm like, okay, so I guess this is where we're at. What are we doing? I don't get it. So I can't at all see anyone going like, well, I'm going to deal with this. But at a certain point I go, well, who is anyone going to deal with anything? Yeah. Or are we just going to let it totally fall apart and become like just the R train will be a place of violence and free for all?
So it sounds like
and
you're
it will not be public transportation.
Pro murder then?
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to say the whole time by disclaiming it the entire time. Actually, a friend of mine gave me some, because he said, listen, it's tough out there. And he gave me some bear spray, basically pepper spray, to defend myself. Yeah. And I thought the only place that I would ever feel the need to use this would be the subway. And that would be the worst place to use it for me. Personally.
Yeah, it's like you spray somebody and now you're trapped in a box.
Now everybody.
Yeah.
The idea of having any kind of weapon, blade, spray, or gun on me as a form of defense, that my immediate reaction is always that I will fumble it, I will forget, I will not use it. And often, this is like such a thing for Pete Dominic, it would be classic, I'll take it out and they'll take it from me and use it on me. And that would be a humiliation if I lived, that I would have a real, I mean, obviously I would never tell the truth. I would give my own narrative. But that is legitimately what I think. I'm like, yeah, I pull out my knife or my bat. I always think about like some kind of blunt instrument. And then the guy just fucking takes it out of my hand and beats the shit out of me. I got beat up by a homeless guy in New York City. What? I've told the story a million times. 2 weeks later, I saw that guy while I was with my friend. I go, that's the guy who jumped me. And he goes, let's get him. You want to go kick his ass? I was like, no, because I don't like to fight, and I don't want to be beaten up by the same guy twice. Like, I'll start it and someone else will finish it, is my point. I'm always losing.
I took a self-defense class, and the number one rule they said was do not have any kind of weapon on you, because 99% of the time it is used against you. Oh, wow. That's what they exactly say. Your fear is legit, man.
Take it out.
Yeah, because it's like, you've done this once. The other person presumably has not.
I know. It's like your first draft of a knife. Cool. Well, here's a professional.
I have maybe a perspective on it that other people would not buy into, and I understand that maybe this is my weird way of thinking, but I honestly just feel like, this is the tax I pay for not being homeless. That I have a 1 in 500 chance of being yelled at or maybe potentially attacked or whatever, and I probably deserve it for living in a capitalist society. And I'm joking but
that's
it's like
hilarious.
I wonder sometimes, just like when I think about how awful these people's lives are.
I know.
And how I might react if I was that desperate, and that if my life was that bleak and that hopeless. Like, I'm honestly shocked that homeless people aren't attacking people constantly. Like,
I agree with you.
How do you not want to just murder everybody?
And where are you going other than the subway? Well, I mean, like, in a way, that's the problem that I'm talking about. Like, there's nothing, there's no systems.
No, that's the point. I think that's
where you're going.
That's the most important point, I think, and you made it, which is, I heard this from last night from listeners at the Hangout, that if this guy or anybody, I don't know about his case. I haven't read into it. I don't know that we've diagnosed him, whatever. If he was mentally ill, though, and the point that you made is like, we've shut down those hospitals. And somebody last night made the point that Reagan did that. I feel like someone must have written a book about that. We got to get to the bottom of that, because the bottom line is that there isn't a safe place for these people to live and be treated. And our society is not interested.
Yeah, the shelters are incredibly dangerous. If you're a homeless person who's not insane, or, it's like the idea, I mean, they're constantly robbed by other dangerous homeless people. I mean, it's what do you expect to? I don't know. I had a point, and then in mid-sentence it vanished.
Yeah, and then there's just the people in New York that really just go, I do not take the subway because I think it's super dangerous. And I have been the person defending it, going like, what are you talking about? This is inflated news stories. This is like the kind of stuff that's thrown around to cause fear.
I still think that's true
before elections. But then, when this is a clearly reported case, then you.
But what is the case here? The case is because some vigilante attacked a guy.
That's right.
If not, it's a Wednesday. Otherwise, it's a typical day in New York City. The only thing that has made this a news story was the actions of the guy who grabbed the homeless guy. Otherwise, nobody would even know about this. And I do think that there is a kind of what I was alluding to at the beginning of this is just that there's sort of a self-fulfilling thing of like, now people are getting on the subway. Like, if anybody makes a move, I'm going to be the guy who's the hero, good guy with a gun, like that sort of attitude, whether they have a gun or not. Brutal. But, and as with a lot of things, I blame MMA culture, but that's just me.
I by the way, we have no idea, but when I saw that, I didn't see a man who had just put a chokehold on. I saw a man who also wrapped his legs around the guy and locked them. I know just enough about MMA because I go down these YouTube routes, and I think it's violent and horrible, and I wish it wasn't there, and I find it entertaining at times to know that that's what that was. The guy's a trained. He's also trained by the state as a Marine. The Marine's job is mainly to kill people, and maybe they could take some responsibility for saying, hey, listen, if you are out in civvies on the subway and someone does it, don't maybe use your capabilities, your lethal weapons, fans to kill them.
I'm just waiting for the news to come out that this dude was like a huge MMA Rogan dude. I just know it. Because I'm judgmental and make assumptions.
Maybe we need some more social services for recovering MMA people.
Yes, now we're talking.
That's right. Like some sort of Thunderdome where they can all just attack each other.
Well, I think it's called the Proud Boys or the.
What I was going to say a minute ago is just. Sorry. What I was going to say a minute ago is just that, when people talk about a meritocracy and like how you should have to work and, we don't want to just give people money. People should have to work for it. It's like, okay, yes. If everything is just numbers on a spreadsheet and you want to sort of live in this sort of theoretical universe where like, work equals value and all. The fact is, I want to give homeless people money. I want to give people things that maybe they don't even deserve because you know what? I want to be able to ride the subway. I want to be able to live like we're paying for our own comfort. We're giving services to underprivileged people, whether or not they quote unquote deserve it, because it makes our lives better. And this sort of idea of that, you shouldn't be able to get welfare unless you're sitting in some, potato peeling factory for 70 hours a week. There's just I wish people would understand that like you're paying for your own comfort. You're not necessarily giving people like and I promise you that other countries don't have this problem because other countries tend to be more racially monochromatic. And so they don't see those people as the other. But a lot of it in this country, I believe, is
right.
Yeah, it's not even just like I don't want to give homeless people. It's like I don't want to give those homeless people. Like there's a racial element to it.
Well, I'm sure that other countries. I mean, Italy's subway system has plenty. Other countries do have people on the subways that are walking around mentally ill, panhandling, and potentially being. But yeah,
they all have a social safety net much better than ours.
You want higher taxes, is what you're saying, Christian.
Yes.
You want higher taxes,
not on me, on other people. But yes.
That's hilarious. What I heard when Christian was, making that really salient point is that he's running, Ophira. That's what I heard.
Finally, a candidate to run against.
Cambry had said that to me once, like you should run for office. It was like the Oppo research on me would be so easy. Like, and I'm not even talking about that. I have some skeletons in my closet. So it says here.
Nobody cares about that anymore.
I can just see in the debate, like, Mr. Finnegan, it says here that you wake up around 9:30 every morning and you don't do anything. And then you go out and you have one 15-minute comedy set and you consider yourself having worked that day. Do I have that correct?
We should do that.
You're like, no, transportation took me an hour.
Exactly. And I went to the gym and checked Twitter on a bench press machine for about a half an hour. And,
Christian, what you're doing is called self-care. Okay. I think you're fitting. Yeah, that's like even a stronger platform.
Yep.
3 quick holidays.
I'll be your spin doctor.
Thank you. It's dream team.
Weigh in on any of these that you want. Yesterday was the 4th, so may the 4th be with you. I know Ophira is a big Star Wars house. Today we're talking on Cinco de Mayo.
That's true.
I just tweeted out an old video that I did from 2010 when I was on CNN where I did some real cultural appropriation. So I highly recommend people go watch that. Yeah,
did you wear a sombrero?
Watch it while doing yoga and getting a nose pierced, just to really up your cultural appropriation, everybody.
Not only a sombrero. So go watch it. But finally, and most importantly,
you didn't have like the long thin mustache, did
but
you?
I did. I made
fall asleep under a tree.
I made noises parodying Latino music. I went around going da, 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 da. So that was pretty offensive. But here's the thing. It is, you got to watch it. I should have watched it with you.
I can't wait.
Also this weekend, and I know you're both very excited about this, so weigh in on any of these or none of these. Kentucky Derby, Christian. I know you're big into horse racing, Ophira. I'm sure you're going to be stopping everything.
Biscuit.
It's all she has. How do you feel about the? Will you be watching the Kentucky Derby? Do you like the horse races, Ophira?
I used to work for a horse owner and a guy that was very involved in the races. I used to work for a horse. First job in comedy. Why the long face? That was the only joke. But and so I actually kind of always watch it because I know that he's betting and involved in it, and he has a real horse in the game, as it were, because he knows what he's talking about. So I might watch it and just ask him, what happened? Because he taught me the only thing I know about betting with horses is that you find the longest shot, and that's what you put your money on, because that's the only way to make money, baby.
Yeah. And
I call that my career.
Christian.
Yeah, it's something we're well versed in.
At no point in Ophira's reaction, basically she's like, I've got contacts who own horses. Like, I know a lot of wealthy horse owners. But at no point did she make any effort to show any concern about the horse and the industry. Do you? I feel like you might want to say something, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you like to watch the horses be tortured.
I think the whole thing is terrible. But
sounds like you're for horse racing to me. Yeah.
I ate horse in Iceland.
Sure you did. Yep.
I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know my mother used to talk about liking horse.
That was not what I was expecting to hear.
Yeah.
I was setting you up. I was setting you up to both slam Ophira and go off on some horse racing rant. Instead, you cut right to the chase and be like, no problem with it. Eat them.
No, I mean, I think that eating animals, I'm not a vegetarian, so I can't really be a total hypocrite about it.
How is it? How was it?
It was quite good, actually. It was.
Really?
It tasted like steak. Tasted like a good steak.
Wow.
Cambry had it. I just had a couple bites.
Wow. Okay. Throwing her. I'll order the horse. I'll have a bite.
Can I? I'm not that hungry. Could I just get a hoof? Just one hoof.
I hear the snout is the best part.
Is that right? You monsters, both of you.
They asked me if I wanted more, and I said nay.
Not a snout.
Yay!
Hooray!
All right, I'm going to end it there, unless you have anything else to offer me.
You can't compete with that.
There's no way to really get past this moment. I want to let listeners in on to relax and recover.
We made hay. That's what we did. We did
make hay. Christian and Ophira, it's so great to get you back together. We covered a lot of ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete.
Well, there you have it. Christian Finnegan, Ophira Eisenberg. Go say, I can't even say her name, really. Go say hi to them. Go thank them for joining me here on a Saturday special. And I hope that you liked it. And I am talking to Eric Siegel tomorrow. That'll probably drop on late Sunday night, Monday. Of course, plenty to talk with him about and so much more. Who should I talk to? Who should I talk about? Who am I going to talk about? What should we talk about? Email me, standupwithpete@gmail.com, and enjoy your weekend if you're listening on the weekend, and whatever time you're listening. Thank you very much. Please subscribe with a paid subscription so I can keep doing this. And remember, man sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he sacrifices his money to recuperate his health. Then he's so anxious about the future that he does not even enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die. And then he dies having never really lived. Some argument about who said that. I think it might have been the Dalai Lama. Maybe it wasn't. Doesn't matter. I love it. I live by it. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Sunlight, you gotta stand up. That's right. We got to rise up. You got to stand up. You gotta stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. So get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. And even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up, stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up, stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up, stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. She's the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up, stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up, they had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of a stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change could begin. They had to stand up. All right, had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We gotta let him know it's his time to go and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. Alright, we got to speak up, we got to reach up and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside. And listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up.